What's up, y'all? I'm teacher Henriqueduarte from Petrópolis, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And today, my dear friends Maria Clara, a Cacaya, couldn't join me to tell you about some of the most relevant news and headlines from Brazil and the world. But don't you worry, she's fine and will be back with us next week. Let me remind you that this is yet another way for you to practice your listening other than our BNPI, the Brazilian News podcast in English, that you can receive for free on your email by subscribing in the link below this video. So, here are some of the headlines and news from the last couple of days as reported by the Rio Times. We'll start with some miscellaneous news headlines. Rio Metro to provide lockers to receive online shopping orders. More than 40 million items can be delivered and retrieved from smart lockers, which will be available at 38 metro stations. The innovation meets the demands of residents who live in areas restricted from delivery by the post office and carriers, and individuals with no postal address. Rock in Rio 2019 may generate 1.7 billion reais in revenues. Rio's Galeão Airport handled over 1.6 million passengers in 29 days. Galeão Airport welcomed approximately 0.6 billion passengers during the 29 days in which it focused almost the entire demand for flights from the city of Rio de Janeiro. And Eike Batista wins appeal and avoids 21 million reais fine. The case dates back to the sale of shares of OSX, a company of Group X that would build oil platforms. Batista was charged by CVM for having sold shares of the company before the publication of a relevant fact to the markets on the revision of the business plan. Rio police will reenact Agatha Felix's death next week. The chief of Rio's homicide police, Daniel Rosa, said that Agatha was shot by a single bullet fragment, which struck some obstacle before and shattered. According to him, 20 people were hurt and the testimonies have already enabled a glimpse of what happened at the time of the girl's death. Pastor arrested for raping daughter who denounced him after school sex class. He has been indicted for rape of a vulnerable person and is now in the police department. According to the police, the girl decided to report her abuse after attending a lecture on drugs and sexual abuse at school. Hence the importance of that at schools. Brazilian indigenous Yanomami Brazilian indigenous Yanomami chief wins alternative Nobel Prize. We'll have more about that in the full story section. While Brazil's government fights gender ideology, Barbie launches non-gender dolls. According to the company, the creatable world dolls are free from any label, in a world that celebrates the positive impacts of inclusion. Over half of all Brazilians do not trust Bolsonaro, says CNI Ibope survey, and we will also have more about that in the full story section. Evangelical Bishop Macedo says wives should not study more than their husbands. According to the bishop, his daughters were forbidden to go to college before their weddings. He justified this by saying that if they studied and became more educated than their husbands, they would be the heads of the family, and the failure of the marriage would be certain. Now, some politics headlines and news. Minister says Brazil deserves to be paid for environmental services to the world. The Brazilians who live there, in the Amazon, need to feel that the forest is really worth more left standing, that it is important to preserve, that it brings economic benefit to the entire population, the minister stated. Brazilian consulate in Zurich is attacked with red paint. This was at least the fourth attack on Brazilian diplomatic posts abroad this year. Others occurred in London and in Berlin. Brazil's president is slammed for a speech at United Nations. Ranting about the threats of socialism and Brazil's sovereignty over the Amazon forest, President Bolsonaro gave one of the most aggressive speeches of the first day of the UN's General Assembly meeting. Macron disregards Bolsonaro, urges world to join fight against climate change. In a speech to the UN General Assembly, the French president warned that we are losing the battle. He said that we need to change our habits of consumption, of production, of government, so that together we may counter climate change. Aras says Eduardo Bolsonaro's appointment as ambassador is not nepotism. The Deputy Prosecutor General Augusto Aras said yesterday, September 25th, well, not yesterday technically, 2 days ago, during assessment by the Committee of Constitution and Justice, CCJ, of the Senate, that he does not perceive as nepotism a potential appointment of Deputy Eduardo Bolsonaro to the position of Ambassador of Brazil to the United States. Eduardo Bolsonaro is President Jair Bolsonaro's son. Now some economy headlines and news. Swiss UBS and Banco do Brasil to create investment banking venture for South America. The new joint venture will provide investment banking services in Brazil and a number of other South American countries. Argentina, Peru, Chile, Paraguay, and Uruguay are included. August turnover in Brazil's machinery industry 9.9% greater than in 2018. The accumulated growth in the year was only 1.1%. According to the organization, in 2019, the reduction in sales is due to the slowdown in international market activities, while in the domestic market, machinery sales increased by 5.9%. Brazil expects to receive 50 billion reais in infrastructure investments in 2020. We'll read more about that in the full story section. Brazil sees fifth consecutive month of positive employment balance. The data are from the General Registry of Employees and Unemployed, CAGED, released on Wednesday, September 25th, by the Secretary of Labor of the Special Secretary of Social Welfare and Labor of the Ministry of Economy. A South American Brexit. What to make of Brazil's threats to leave Mercosur? Over the last 10 years, Brazil has recorded a trade surplus of $87 billion with its three full Mercosur partners, an amount greater than that over either China or the European Union during the same time. Brazil's surplus with Argentina alone is approximately $8.5 billion per year. And now a quick announcement before the full stories. Fala galera, aqui é o professor de inglês Henrique Duarte. Primeiramente, muito obrigado por estar acompanhando as notícias do Brasil e do mundo aqui no canal Inglês em 1 Minuto no YouTube. Não deixem de seguir as páginas do Instagram, @henrique_duarte, Não deixe de seguir as páginas do Instagram, @professor_henrique_duarte. E aqui no canal do YouTube, Inglês em um Minuto, com dicas gratuitas de inglês. E para quem tem interesse em estudar inglês, eu leciono aulas online, particulares ou em pequenos grupos, inclusive para empresas, do iniciante ao avançado. Podem me enviar mensagens no e-mail seuprofessordeingles@gmail.com, pelas minhas páginas no Instagram ou no meu site smartenglishsolutions.com.br. Fiquem agora com as notícias completas da edição de hoje. So, some of the full stories for today. Rock in Rio 2019 may generate